Alright, welcome back to another Art of War 3 replay. I'm your host, JEONG SINAH, and today we're going to be doing a clan versus clan 2v2 battle. I'm going to be the green Confederate player, and my partner Kinezul is going to be the blue Confederate player. So let's go ahead and get into it. We're going to be facing off against two resistance players from the NENJKA UKRAINA clan, and let's see how it unfolds. We got some early scouting on the battlefield that's kind of unfolding. Looks like we got some data now to see what the red and yellow players are up to. We're not seeing anything significant yet in terms of base development. We're just getting some early game action around the battlefield unfolding. So we can see some light harassment from infantry. And so I'm going to go ahead and designate our roles for this battle. I'm going to go for a vehicle build, and Kinezul is going to do the aviation build, since Kinezul has very solid Vertex and Thors. So I've got a small ground army here of a fortress and a couple riflemen, assaults moving in. Let's see if we can capture this container here. We're going to be able to push those coyotes off the container. Meanwhile, Kinezul is moving assault onto the big container as well. Looks like there's a couple riflemen in the trees there. And we can see that this yellow player, we can tell they know exactly what they're doing. They're doing a great job microing those coyotes around my infantry. So my assaults are trying to dish out damage, but the grenades are not landing. And that's where a lot of the power from the assaults comes from, is from those grenades. So my fortress is trying to dish out damage. My fortress looks like it's accidentally left the crate. And very nice move from the yellow player to go in there and reset the counter. Again, my fortress still trying to fight it out with the coyote, and the coyote is going to leave. So we can see at this point, Kinezul's got 8 supply centers and is on his way with developing tons of infrastructure. Meanwhile, on my end, I just finished teching up to HQ3. I'm going to go ahead and put some infrastructure down. Looks like Kinezul's getting a scout onto the red player. Looks like we see a prototype factory from the red player, so maybe we might see some heroes in play. And red is still teching up to HQ3 at this time, so red is slower than both myself and Kinezul. I'm going to be able to capture 2 resource containers, but that third one I'm not going to be able to capture. Yellow probably has a rifleman in the trees that did not capture. So we can see now we're just continuing to put down infrastructure. Here comes some dragonflies from the yellow player. Yellow's going to be able to steal that container. So overall, the engagement that I had cumulatively really was not worth it, but that's the gamble we take when trying to capture the large container. So right now, just continuing to develop my ground army. I'm getting some hammer tanks out, and we can see there's a wasp now. Wasp is getting a scout onto Kinezul's base, and we can see Kinezul is HQ4 at this time. We got a dragonfly firing on my torpedo platform there. I just dropped it just in case there's any sort of naval presence. My torpedo platform has the anti-air though, and is going to discourage those dragonflies from firing. So we can see that container now being captured by the wasp, and we see a vertex now coming in to scout yellow. Looks like yellow is going for aviation as well, with the airfield and the avia factory. So we can see at this point both red and yellow are HQ3, but they don't have any significant ground armies in play quite yet. So right now, just continuing to build my ground army here. I'm going for a mix of infantry and hammer tanks for now. Looks like Kinezul is dropping down some walls to go with his defensive line. So a little bit of a camping strategy there in a sense. I'm going to go ahead on my end. I'm going to tech up to HQ4. Here comes some hawks from the yellow player. They're going to clean up that assault from Kinezul. And the resistance side is going to be able to capture that large container. So we're still continuing to develop our infrastructure and produce units. My plan now is to go for a full HQ4 army. Meanwhile, Kinezul looks like he's going heavy on the Thors. I'm going to send a Cyclone now to get some scouting. Let's see what's on the battlefield. We see a coyote from the yellow player, and my Cyclone is going to get cleaned up by those hawks. Here comes a bomb hit though from the Thors, and they're going to clean up that airfield, so those hawks have nowhere to land, and they're either going to fly off the map or could land on an airfield if yellow has time to rebuild. Hawks now flying over Kinezul's base here. Looks like those hawks are going to exit the battlefield. So we can see another container here. Yellow trying to capture this large resource container. I'm trying to move in ground troops to try and capture. Yellow's doing a great job maneuvering, but that coyote is going to get cleaned up, and I'm going to be able to steal this resource container. Meanwhile, I'm just continuing to build my ground army. No major commitments yet on either end for any of us. Here comes some Thors, though, from kinezul. Kinezul is going to dish out some damage. Let's see where the Thors head to. And they're going to bomb the assault vehicle factory. And looks like he's going to dish out some damage to clean up that assault vehicle factory. Looks like a Hawk's going to get shot down over my base. And looks like my ground army is still in development. Here comes a Vertex from kinezul. And kinezul is going to clean up that Avia factory. So we can see that Yellow is going for the HQ4 upgrade at this point. kinezul is doing a great job harassing the Yellow player with the aviation. Thors are continuing to dish out damage against the Yellow player's base. So looks like the airfield is going to go down. That's going to be end of the air power for the Yellow player. We can see that Wasp is just hanging out in the corner there for the resistance side. Here comes some infantry and Jaguar tanks, though, and Porcupines. Looks like Red's launching an assault onto kinezul's base. Let's see if kinezul can defend the attack here. kinezul's got plenty of Zeus tanks and a shield generator and a couple defensive structures. It is forcing Red to funnel their troops into this concentrated area. So this is a pretty sizable army from the Red player. And so far, Red's doing okay, but here comes the Thors, and they absolutely demolish the Red player's army. Red has no ground troops left. Meanwhile, I'm pushing a ground assault onto the Yellow player. Yellow is in trouble. They only have a handful of units at this time, and is nowhere near enough to push my army back. I've got a shield generator to support my army as well, so my ground troop mix here is extra durable. I've got a couple torrents in there just for some added firepower, and typhoons for anti-air. So I've got a handful of Zeus tanks and infantry here, and we can see that Yellow has finished teching up to HQ4 and is desperately trying to produce units. But unfortunately, we're going to dish out some good damage on our end. Meanwhile, Thors are coming in for kinezul. They're going to bomb the special vehicle factory and the assault vehicle factory. So 2 factories down for the Red player. Meanwhile, Yellow's base is getting absolutely demolished here by my ground army. And at this point, I think kinezul and I are acknowledging that we probably got this game in the bag, considering just how much of this Yellow player's base has been destroyed, and the fact that on both of our ends we're continuing to attack and produce units. Another assault vehicle factory goes down for the Red player, and this is not looking good at all for the resistance side. They got a ton of pressure on them. Looks like Red is trying to send troops to reinforce and defend the Yellow player, but not sure how that's going to turn out. I'm trying to concentrate my torrent fire on the headquarters here. If Yellow loses their headquarters, it's going to be pretty much good game. I'm going to go ahead and move my typhoons back. I'm just going to leave my torrents there to dish out damage. Again, I don't expect the torrents to finish off the assault vehicle factory. Here comes some Jaguars. They will clean up my torrent. So it looks like kinezul is coming in for another big bombing run, and they're going to bomb a ton of infrastructure there. Red is taking some heavy pressure right now, and kinezul's got a ground army of a shield generator and some Zeus tanks. Looks like kinezul also sent a couple Thors to take care of that headquarters, so now we can see that Yellow is pretty much out of the game at the moment. It's just the Red player at this point. Red's only got a couple units here, and the Wasp is going to go down. Those Zeus tanks are dishing out some good damage against the Red player's buildings, and looks like a few more tanks are trying to come in and defend, but at this point, it's not looking good at all for Red or Yellow. I've got a decent amount of command points on my end. I'm just kind of watching kinezul slowly level the Red player's base with Thors and Zeus tanks. Prototype factory is going to go down, and kinezul is going to finish off the last little bit of Red's base. Alright, this is pretty much the end of the game here. This battle is relatively quick. Hopefully you all enjoyed this battle. We can see Yellow there attempting to rebuild their headquarters, but we're just going to go ahead and clean up the rest of these bases here. Alright, that's it for this one. We will see you in the next battle.